All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. I certainly missed everyone yesterday, and I appreciate all of the good wishes and thoughts for my successful return. As always, my name is Jared. It is August 7th. No, it is September 7th, 2022. New month. Obviously, we had limited volatility yesterday in regards to just overall price movement in the markets. Saw a little bit more downside that was sort of recovered mid-session, and we're seeing a bit of a stall overall around some key levels, which we'll talk about in just a moment. Um, Given I wasn't here yesterday, and given it is a shorter week, I wanted to quickly look at the SPX expected move. Remember, this is based off of Friday's SPX close at about 3924.26. And for the week, we're looking at about a $94 expected move, plus or minus, which brings our levels to about 40.18 and 38.30. It is a 4-day trading week, so that is a smaller expected move compared to last week, albeit volatility readings have expanded from last week. You'll note that things like the Vix, volatility futures, and just an overall kind of uncertainty in regards to next move in the overall S&Ps, that has certainly gone up, and we've seen wider trading ranges over the past couple of sessions. More notably last week, where not only did we have that significant breach, but we had some fairly wide overall trading ranges, around about 10 S&P or 10 SPY dollars, about 100 S&P overall points. So for those levels, we'll kind of shift into our normal discussion here, and really this idea that the market is at an inflection point that I think a lot of people are waiting with some abated breath as to what the next move is going to look like. It's arguable that a lot of certain pattern structures, relative targets, and just the key level support that we're at, things have kind of hit that point of, can we change back into strength? Are we going to see the market sort of tighten up around these levels, or is this just the midline of another larger sell swing in the near future? And that's where that uncertainty can certainly come in, lack of conviction by the overall market price movement, along with how to position around this. I think a lot of traders can find difficulty when you're trading mid-range. Should you be going for the full extension, or should you be looking to counter this move in some shorter term fashion? So all in all, I think the approach here is going to be a little bit twofold. For one, I don't think any sort of hedges should necessarily be taken off at this point. As I've mentioned before, we're still seeing heightened volatility coming into this marketplace. We haven't really gotten to an extreme level, but the hedge itself, whether you're using volatility as a hedge, some sort of inverse index product, or just shorting overall, these products ideally are still in play. They haven't really showcased that they are complete. We're just hitting targets at this point. And I think if you're looking to unwind, it's certainly a viable time to consider it. We're also looking at some potential extensions that can continue to form in volatility. One area that's kind of interesting, more from the technical side, is going to be the Vix trend line, which recently got recovered after we saw a lower inflection touch. So we saw volatility reduce significantly. That was about when the S&P was topping out. That, of course, has changed, and we've seen the drawdown effect more recently as the Fed decided not to showcase any sort of pivoting behavior. And now with the VIX in its current location, we're very likely to see another inflection test to the upside. Things are still elevated. The market really hasn't showcased fear yet, but I think it's also due to the fact that we're at that key level overall. So for the bull, you want to see volatility come back down. You don't want to see those extreme readings necessarily unless you're doing something more akin to what we've seen in the past, where you've basically been buying into extreme lows and allowing that to resolve in the regard of some sort of short covering rally or just a bear market style rally, allowing those profitable positions to kind of come out and then flipping back to the short side. Sustainable bull trends, whether they be on the weekly or just higher time frames, shouldn't have to go to those extremes. Ideally, if this market is to recover from our current levels and even see new highs above about 430, the setup has to be occurring in these price ranges. If not, I think it really opens the door to some of those historical examples that we've discussed, i.e. 2008, and a lot of bears are even looking at S&P in about the 1973 levels, which did have similar inflationary pressure. And as I kind of draw it back here, I'd have to go to the SPX for this one. That's going to showcase the type of volatility that was experienced during that time, where the S&P had come off of a relative all-time high, and we were seeing wild sell and buy swings in both directions. This is a monthly chart of the S&P, so a lot of people are kind of modeling this time frame here as very similar to what a bearish breakdown or sort of a full grand finale downtrend could look like if the market were to collapse below these levels, basically to crash. So a lot of speculation in this market. People are trying to model what the next move could look like. There's going to be a bullish and bearish lean to both scenarios. Opportunistically, I think we want to keep in mind that it's going to revolve around certain levels being rejected. We've seen the power of the 200-day moving average. That, of course, was the first sign to get out of your bullish exposure and start to look a little bit more downside. The next thing is going to be what happens mid-range. We've got our key breakout point, which is being tested currently. We've got our trend line. That should be fairly obvious with some of our relative lows anchoring this trend line. We've come into this yesterday. We've also got fib extension 61.8. We've even got things like measured move, which I think a lot of people ignore in regards to looking for a counter setup, but not allowing for the current setup to finish. And this is one of those things that we talk about more on an intraday level. I think it's important for swings as well. If there is a certain trend and maybe a pattern that is confirmed, you want to let those patterns exhaust. Essentially, you want those measured targets to actually be met before you try and set up anything that is counter that particular move. So for example, if there's a bull flag in the market and it breaks bullish, bull flags have very simple measured movement. They're essentially looking at the low end of the consolidation and the extension that created the flagpole. That is your next target. And if the market hasn't achieved that target, or if it's not even close to those levels, there's little in the way of expectation for it to be countered until that happens. We're going to likely see that price be achieved first before we see any sort of significant downside or just some sort of pullback in a larger, in this case, possible uptrend, given that it is a bull flag. So these concepts are important on an intraday level because we talk about how bulls and bears fighting on the intraday, they need to move out of each other's way to allow for the market to actually move counter a trend. And we talk about, especially in this market, the bears have to get their targets first. They have to be profit taking at certain levels to even allow for bulls to possibly step in, hold a position, and then put up some counter movement type target, something that's more akin to a bounce on the intraday. If you think about the market in that structure, you'll note that the current trends in the S&P are very similar. We have this overextension that hit our final target, our resistance levels. We have a head and shoulder, which collapsed and broke down. And then we have a measured movement. How far did that overextension go? And how far down has it dragged from the neckline? So all of those concepts are kind of coming into fruition right now. And if you recall from last week, I talked about how this is a kind of a challenging area to trade. Not because there's not market volatility, but more so because you don't want to be in a bad location at the wrong time. You don't want to be shorting at these levels if the market were going to bounce, because the upside here is possible to backtest. It's still got that potential to come back up first. And basically that oscillation, that possible price movement can be really challenging. You also don't necessarily want to go long unless you are anticipating this to hold, because right now we're not seeing follow through. We haven't really changed trends yet. So everything right now is a bit more speculative as to whether or not this trend line is going to hold, those key levels are going to hold. Everything is more defensive for the bulls, at least. So I think that's important to bring into your intraday trading along with your swing trading right now. This market is probably hitting extension targets. A lot of the movement is to some degree complete. We're going to need more catalyst and possibly a little bit of a technical signal, maybe a new breakdown or breakout, in order to trigger another directional play. Because for now, you'll notice that things are more or less stalled. We're under some key moving averages. So the lean right now is definitely towards the bears. They have the trend, they currently have the momentum, and all the bulls have right now is a false breakdown low on yesterday's session and the fact that we're at this current location. So for the bulls to really start countering this trend, we need to kind of see them break away from this channel of trade. You know, ideally bounce with some strength, and ideally on the bounce pullback, have some sort of higher low setup. That's going to bring in new conviction and likely bring in higher targets for us to anticipate. A couple of things that are going to hinder the bulls right now. And this is more about your risk assessment and really what you should be doing in this time frame, because just because the market has stopped selling for a short period of time doesn't mean it's not on the edge of a breakdown once again. One thing that's really concerning right now is we're still back into a dollar strengthening overall market. We talked about this breakout was pretty likely incoming due to the recovery and the back test. Similar to the VIX, this is kind of what I'm expecting for the VIX as well. Anytime you come back into a position of strength or weakness, you back test your previous levels, and then you make new highs or lows, you've reclaimed trends. And that means that the market is reassessing previous strength or previous weakness, albeit there was a correction in between. So dollar strength right now is a problem. There is this key understanding here that this is putting pressure on global markets, it's putting pressure on commodities, and it's really just putting pressure on equities, anything that is relative to the dollar. If the dollar is strong, equities tend to underperform. That's just the natural inclination of this, this index. So dollar strength is a problem right now. Interest rates are a problem. The TNX has once again crested above that 3% level. We're seeing momentum back to the bullish side. And as far as relative highs, we're almost back at readings that we got back in mid-June. This was a very extreme period for the market, and more so in the tech and growth sectors. The rate sensitivity and the correlation, the inverse correlation here is apparent. Tech and growth had some of their worst overall time during this rising rate period, and only until it peaked could they actually see a little bit of a breath back to the upsides, more of a bullish play. So rates are a problem. This is just a 10-year. We won't necessarily go into all the complexity of the current yield curve inversion or the fact that even shorter term rates, whoops, wrong product, FVX, 5-year as well, exploding, 30-year, showcasing that this is a lot of acceleration in regards to what bond participants are forecasting for the next cycle. Basically, what is the market telling us in regards to recessionary fears, along with the overall risk assessment of the market. A lot of these products are really not indicative of S&P having a strong recovery until they abate. We've brought this new item into our list, the idea that corporate debt can showcase more of a risk-on, risk-off behavior of the market. We talked about this breakout, and that coincided with the S&P breakout as well. That has collapsed as well. There's a lot of things here that are reverting, coming back in, possibly looking for fresh lows. And in the case of the S&P, we want to pay attention to these because no matter how good the setup looks, the market still is under pressure. It's got a lot of force against it, most of it coming from selling pressure. A lot of downside anticipation for risk in the market. So all these things combined, you look at market breadth, it's been coming off, it's relatively poor. There's another ETF that just shows like an equal weight percentage. I think this is the right ticker. Yeah, but we've been using RSP for quite a while, so I'll keep to that one. RSP is showing a lot of just poor market breadth over the past couple of weeks, but just like the S&P, it's all about those inflection levels. Are we going to see defense here, or is this a short term? Is it a stall before continuation? I don't have a lot of expectation for a bounce here, but I do expect the market to bounce. If it doesn't, that's really going to put a lot of pressure in regards to our next move. It's basically going to showcase that no one's here buying this market, and we're going to be looking for possible retests of June lows. So couple things for today to kind of keep aware of. We do have a number of Fed speakers today, and this will start around 9 o'clock market time with Fed Chair Barkin. We're going to be looking at looks like 3 additional speeches throughout the next couple of hours. These can be short-term market moving events, but overall it's going to be more about confluence with the current estimation, especially in regard to rate hikes, but also some future economic expectations that you might want to pay attention to. It's also just going to be something to watch out for. If a speech is starting, you might see a little bit of risk coming out, and that can be in both directions. So let's say the market is downtrending at that point in time. If a speech is starting up, you may see a quick volume cover, and that could be bears and possibly some bulls taking profit and starting new positions, and usually kind of sparks around a catalyst about to start. So those are some things to watch out for. We might get, I won't say a choppy market today, but it's definitely going to be an indecisive looking market until we maybe start breaking some levels. And there's a couple of short-term levels we can take a look at. I'd also keep an eye on probabilities here. You'll note that for September, the probability of a 75-point rate hike has gone up. It's not abated. We've seen it kind of trickle higher and higher week to week. And it's simply an increasing probability, mostly because the rhetoric has been hawkish. There's been little to no indication that we're going to see 50 basis points based on the data that we've been seeing, the tone of the overall Fed representation, and the fact that a lot of our data sets are not really showcasing any relative highs or lows. Job market, inflation, and there's one more. I can't remember. Oh, manufacturing, just overall production. So things to watch out for. It's going to be a weird day today. I don't expect there to be some A+ market movers today. I do expect a lot of back and forth. So maybe have a couple of range-based strategies for today, just in case we are chopping around some key levels. And as I zoom in here, what would those key levels be? So first things first, probably your lows of both yesterday and pre-market. We're still weak overall. So if the market's going to make new lows, we'd obviously want to be keeping an eye out for that. We also kind of want to note here that the follow through to the downside has been poor recently. So we've been seeing sell-offs, but they've come from elevation. Usually they're coming from a market that's gapping up or rallying into some area of resistance and then collapsing. And what you'll notice is that's where a lot of our major sell-off events have occurred past couple days, usually from a high. Over the couple of sessions from last week, we have crested below this low, but you'll notice that we're not really moving away from it. We've seen bottoming tails, we've seen a little bit of closure, but the market continues to reclaim about 390. And that's a pretty high option open interest node for this week, both in the S&P and the SPX. So the SPY and this SPX index. 390 is a pretty heavy area. Chop can occur at these levels. I also think it's going to be a value zone to assess. We're seeing it already short term on the volume profile. It's building in that volume profile because a lot of the trade has been centered around 390 over the past couple of sessions. I think it's most evident yesterday where you'll notice this sort of dampening area of the market that centers around 390. So, if you draw a midline here, you're going to spot that a lot of the value is centered there. Getting away from it is going to be challenging, and it stinks to open at it. You don't want to open at value. You want to often open away from it and pull it back in. Or if you're moving away from it and there's some breakout look to the market, that's where you can look for continuation and stronger reversal patterns. Opening at value is tough, and I don't like a market that does that. For an intraday trader, it's going to be challenging. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for the overall S&P. Watch out for those sticky locations. There's certainly a lot of overhead supply getting formed this market. Pretty much every day we're putting in those lower highs, and we're seeing small downside, but we're not seeing follow through. Getting away from this area can facilitate more short covering and obviously be a bit more of a bullish move, but we have to start pressing above these levels. So it's probably okay to start waiting for a much stronger signal of a breakout, and anything else is going to be more of your short-term bounce reactions or some sort of intraday kind of setup. Everything we've seen from the bullish side has been kind of short-lived. So I guess last but not least, trying to think how best to say it. When it comes to volatility and the idea to keep your hedges on in this market, it's not because we need that extreme to occur in order for the bulls to come back in. I think it's because we haven't seen any different this year. Every relative extreme on the downside has been facilitated by extremes in volatility, extremes in put call ratio, any sort of overextension, usually some standard deviation move. Having the hedge or having something downside in this market protects you in the case that the extreme continues to happen. But it also is not meant to be a profitable part of your portfolio. It's really allowing you to hold other positions and essentially have short-term profit-taking ability while other positions are in detrimental situations or maybe seeing a little bit of unrealized pressure. So the reason I bring up a hedge is the volatility has crested to the lows. We're at the midpoint. If the volatility readings continue to elevate, the next reading can not only be extreme, but we can actually see overextension, something that's new relative to this year. And I think if it's going to occur, especially on maybe this last sell swing that the market may be experiencing, having a hedge might be the most advantageous moment to protect your portfolio. For one, what sort of market sell-off would need to occur? We probably need things like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, the big market cap players to sell further and faster. Right now, they're pretty stable. Apple's actually looking decent for a long, but if these things ever start collapsing again, the market's going to take a tumble, and a lot of other products are already weak. So their weakness will just be continuation. The new weakness would be coming in from heavier market cap names. And that's what most crash scenarios are planning around. The S&P actually losing market cap strength from the stronger stocks, something like your Apples and your Microsofts. I think it's also about the idea that you don't really expect differences until there's an example of one. And I think here, what's so interesting about this VIX contraction that we saw recently is it did break trend, but when it came back into trend, it's trying to reclaim it. And that can be one of two things, really. It can just be a return to some sort of previous example where we might see another low to high move, or it can be perceived as a bit of a trap. The idea that this wasn't all clear for some participants, and now they're possibly trapped, and we can see a new extension, something that's going to go much higher than we've seen before. That's obviously going to be facilitated by a lot of downside in the S&P, and hence a hedge will protect you against that. It's obviously a little bit more speculative, and it's going to need to show over time, but the condition is there. I think the market is in a sensitive state, and we need to be prepared for the idea that this lower bound level that the S&P is trying to hold is an inflection point. If it doesn't hold, there's not only more crash risks, but there's also new oversold readings that we can encounter, something like full momentum changes back on higher time frames, weekly and monthly levels being lost for the first time. So all that said, we'll kind of look at that a little bit more this week and maybe do a bit more higher level overview. Trade safe today, keep some of those catalysts in mind, and stay tuned for pre-market prep. We'll talk more about it tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. Glad to hear that, guys. Let's give a shout out to Jai for engineering the markets every single morning. As
Except for
we're
Friday.
except for Friday, yes. As you
Every
guys,
single morning that doesn't
it's
start with an F.
yes. So big shout out to him. Hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It helps us out a whole bunch, and we appreciate it very much. Again, the guy puts a lot of work in there, a lot of information. So we appreciate him taking the time to do that and then sharing it with us every Monday besides Friday, every morning besides Friday. All right, guys, let's take a look at what we had yesterday. We had a pretty decent day. The SPY overall, if you look at here, let's get the 5 minute. It has some movement, and that's kind of what I've been playing. I've been looking at the SPY and seeing, okay, what's moving with the SPY. I mean, that's been the catalyst for many days where we don't have a unique catalyst on certain things. So, for example, the SPY yesterday had a nice drop, had a beautiful bounce back above VWAP. And if you look at stocks like not Baba so much, very choppy, didn't really was not in play. But if you look at Apple, it's exactly what the SPY did. I mean, it's like bar by bar exactly what the SPY did. If you put them side by side, it's almost you cannot tell the difference. Nvidia tried to do the same thing, not as clean, right? So you see here how choppier this is. Still the same overall move, the sell off and then the bounce. But many people ask, well, why do you watch Apple all the time? Well, that's why. When there's something that's not heavily in play or a catalyst, Apple is an amazing stock to trade that can follow the overall market. Tesla, another one that traded very, very well too. Look at this beautiful sell off. And we got a reversal very early on. No opportunity for a double bottom. You got going pretty quickly here. And I say early on because usually reversals are happening between 11 and 12, maybe 10:30 and 11:30. So this happens really quickly and it just takes off, right? Just beautiful pop there. And I actually had a different plan. I actually sold off, which was again real nice. Sold off with the market. Didn't quite bounce right away. Did give you a double bottom here, but you didn't really get the V reversal as you did on many other tickers. So again, just a whole lot of opportunities. There were some stocks that had a major sell-off like CCJ. This one here, did not see this one, but I was talking to Hamish about this one this morning. And look at this sell-off. And again, not typically the stock I will watch. And the reasons for that is just the volume is very light. But still, if you're patient in this, you can catch some opportunities. So again, just so many different type of things you could traded yesterday. IC was another one that was very, very active. It did come back. It was looking a little suspect here when it lost a lot of the levels in the pre-market, but did come back into the market open, gave you a couple of nice breakouts of the daily levels we had here, guys. 1367, look at that beautiful breakout there. 1464 was another level we had. So again, just a real nice pop there. Sideways for the rest of the day, but the morning hours were pretty decent on IC. So this morning on our gappers list, we have a couple of things on here in the gap up and gap down. A couple of these I'm not aware of. We have pins here. We'll see what's going on there. Charge point on the downside. I know Neo has earnings, so we'll see how that played out. They had earnings this morning, down 5%. BBBY has just been a mess. Popped up and sold off yesterday, down another 3% this morning. So we'll go through all these in detail and see what's happening there. But first, let's go over to the overall market and what's happening today.
Yeah, I mean, the big news really is we've got a lot of Fed speakers today and tomorrow, especially Powell speaks tomorrow, for instance, but we've got a smattering of them today. That's the big info. So move the markets. The SPY was up a little bit. I mean, we've just had a pretty consistent weak market going back. For a couple weeks now, and nothing can seem to pop it up. Even when it starts higher, it's selling off. It's just selling to any strength kind of market currently. Earlier, SPY was green, Qs were green. Wall Street Journal dropped a story talking about how the Powell and the Fed are inclined for a 75 basis point hike at their September meeting. Um, so it just the market started, I mean, immediately collapsing on that. If you look on the five, you'll see it. It was about an hour ago, a little bit less. So anyway, yeah, well, just very cautious on interest rates, and we'll see what goes on.
Yep, absolutely.
They're all up on the screen. You've got 10 a.m. You've got one speaking, 12:35, 2 o'clock. So
We talk about the actual times, right? Yeah.
the times of the speakers. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So let's get to it. Let's see how this list can build today. Again, I'm gonna suspect we're gonna be watching a lot of our usual suspect, especially the way the SPY is moving currently. Control A, Control X is gonna get rid of this list here, clean that up, and let's see what we have going on here. Oh, let's link our trade ideas, make our job a lot easier. We'll do this at link and hit shift right over here, and that should do it. There we go. All right, perfect. Let's get this out of the way, and let's make sure BIAF. We'll start there.
No.
Yeah, B.
Run from this fugly ticker.
I don't think this linked properly. Hold on a second. Something's funky here. I don't think this actually linked the way I wanted it to. So let's get
Yeah, I think
delete
it
this.
just linked your chart. Not your
Yeah, I didn't even know you could do that. You could actually link the chart itself. So
learn
that's
something new
pretty,
every day.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, so here we go. Let's try that now. BIAF. So Norm is telling us to run away from this thing
It's a
here.
recent IPO. It has a very, very, very small float. Their IPO, they only released like 1.2 million shares. So
It's
that 2.1 is not correct.
yeah,
Run.
yeah. These new IPOs, man.
They're
just
wild.
I don't ever right.
It has been a very strange IPO market the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's very weird. So this IPO, you guys, just stay away from it. Don't look. You know, it's easy to look at the numbers, say, "Hey, this is going to be a good one." But once you start looking under the hood and you see the history and you see what's happening here, it's just not a great one. Jack Cat, thank you for joining us over on YouTube. So if you're looking for a good scanner, for that's free, there's a few places you can go to. Finviz has one. Right, Finviz has like scanners you can use, gap up and gap down. They're not going to be as great as trade ideas.
Really screeners, not scanners.
Yeah,
it's not
more screeners,
doing it
right?
Live, you have to refresh and stuff like that. We're here every morning. You've got our gappers, so
yeah.
Join us. So you can see the gappers.
You can see them here, anyway. and they have screeners you can use for free. And also Thinkorswim is another option you can use. So there's a lot of free tools out there, guys. Take advantage of them. And keep up to date with tradingterminal.com because a lot of those free tools are going to be coming over to tradingterminal.com. I know we just kind of got the heat map. We're working on the heat map now, and Artie is he's a bulldog, man. He is on this, hard. Working hard to make this work. So stay tuned with tradingterminal.com. A lot of the stuff you're mentioning is going to come up on our website as well. Let's head over to COUP this morning. They are, let's link this one. COUP, we've seen this before. I don't like this ticker at all. It's very messy. I think it's choppy. They're up 10% this morning. This is Coupa Software.
They had earnings.
Yeah.
They had good earnings. B2B software company. Like you said, it's not the best intraday trader. I don't think it has very good intraday volume. On average, it trades about a 1.6 million, 1.7 million shares, which is pretty light. So it would have to get some serious volume to be a contender for me.
Yeah. Yep, agree. I'm going to keep it off the list now, guys. But if you guys see some crazy volume on this, point it back out to us. Here's pins. They're up 3.8. Do we have any news on these guys? They can be okay at times. They're up 3.8 right now. Volume is
they got an upgrade this morning. Yeah. I know that much. I'm not sure if there was something else, but all I saw was an upgrade.
We'll throw them as a possible volume. You can't put too much weight on the pre-market. They are an icy ticker, so they don't get great volume. Let's see if they get anything around the market open. CHPT charge point also up 3.1. Not great volume. Another one that you need some good volume on. I'm going to keep it off the list for now. I just don't see anything great on this one at the moment. So it was gapping down. CHPH. We saw this another IPO. I remember this one because this also went crazy. And again, these IPOs popping up here 300, 400, 500%, and then selling back down. I don't get it. But this is really not in play. I don't see anything good here. Let's head over to
one. The float's also incorrect over there because they only they IPO'd once again around 1.2 million shares. So
so there's no way they can have that. So again, another one, guys, be very, very careful. I don't see how that is in play today. FRO this morning, we've seen this a couple of times here. I'm not a big fan. They are very light on volume on the daily. I'd rather trade something else. This is from Frontline. So again, big day yesterday as far as movement here. It happened all at the market open, just one big pop and not much going on after that. So again, not a big
Yeah,
fan. They're down today 6.5. Just basically wiped out their day yesterday. Back at this area here, they might just chop around and not do a whole lot. So another one that's not great, EQNR. We know this ticker. This was down yesterday as well, gapping down again today some more. And here's the reason why, guys. I mean, compare this ticker here, this intraday action to other stuff we had on our list: Tesla, Apple, Nvidia. I don't know how AMD traded, but I didn't have it on my list. And they all had to drop, but just look how clean those other companies were, right, compared to this one with a lot more volume. I mean, this is only 151,000 for the most part here. So again, it's just not going to get a great volume on this. I suspect today's the same thing, although we're dropping again on this thing, man. This thing is losing ground pretty fast here. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but again, I think we can find
it's
something
Norwegian
else.
oil.
Yes,
Oil
right. You mentioned that.
company. There's some financial issues going on. There's, of course, all being sparked by the Ukraine situation.
So guys, depending on your trading style, this might be something you might want to trade if you trade this way. For me, it's just not the way I trade. Neo earnings this morning, as you can see here, nice drop. They've been dropping losings this morning. They've been dropping quite a bit the last couple of days. So who knows how much of that is built into the coming into this earnings. How was the guidance, Norm? Did you look into that or no? I know you don't trade Neo as much.
I don't pay any attention to guidance, especially on Chinese companies. You can't even trust their financials to be audited properly, much less what they tell you is going to happen. So,
yeah.
But yeah, they came in worse than expected. They're getting hit on that.
Yeah, so not looking good here, guys. They are again. They got some good volume, guys. 2.2, and so today could be the day where Neo can actually do something. So we'll add it on here. What I like about Neo is they've been selling off the last couple of days. So who knows if they're looking to close this gap here? A lot of the stuff could have been built in here, and as Norm mentioned, how much weight can you put into these earnings and guidance? So Neo on the list. I like the numbers. I like the pre-market action. Let's see if we can get something good out of it today. Did we skip PAF? No, we didn't skip it. It just probably popped up. Or if we did, apologies. PAF this morning. We did, right? We just skipped it.
Yeah, it got skipped, but that's okay.
Yeah,
we can always come back.
Yeah. Let's look at PAF here, guys. Down 17%. I don't remember ever trading this one or looking at it. Looks lighter in volume on the daily, but today obviously they got 1.6 million shares traded, so they got quite a bit here. We do have shares for sure. What's the news on this, Storm? If anything exciting?
They had earnings last night. They're getting some downgrades this morning. So
okay, looks very active. Again, I don't have much info on how this thing trades. I'll put it as a possible. We could put it up here for now, unless we find something better. We can leave it up here. The numbers look good right now. Pre-market action is very active. Let's see if that can turn into something. IC was insane yesterday. Oh, look at this.
Dropping like a rock right now.
Ooh, look at that, my friends. Down 8% just now. And the fun might be over on this thing. I'm going to put this here, entertainment purposes only. IC. A lot of you guys traded this pretty well yesterday. So nice job there in the pre-market and also at the market open. I saw some entries you guys were taking there. So good job. Guys, just can't stress it enough. This is not a low flow actually, but it is a risky one. So please be very careful trading this thing. Know your level of experience. If you're not there yet, you got some work to do on your discipline. This is one you want to put aside for now. You can watch it, learn from it, but don't touch it. Here's a BBBY down 3.3. I think we could find better things to trade. I mean, this is just messy. It was messy yesterday as two at the open. Finally ended up selling off. But it's just a messy situation with this one. I don't want no parts of it right now. We'll skip on it for now. CFVI, no good. What is this? No good. Just started to get going here a couple of days ago, but
it's
yeah,
SPAC.
The SPAC. Okay.
I think it's Rumble.
That's what it is. Yeah. Rumble's been making a lot of noise lately. I mean, I see a lot more people talking about Rumble. Then
shit's unwatchable, dude.
I have not been on it, so I don't know what it looks like.
There's like an ad that they run 2 15-second ads like every 30 seconds. It's unwatchable.
No way.
Anyway, yeah,
I thought it was supposed to be better than Rumble.
It's supposed to be uncensored. That's what people like about it.
Okay, gotcha. But that's great. Full of ads. Yeah. I hate ads, man. Hate it. All right, so
And you
yeah,
can't skip them,
oh, that's not cool.
to my knowledge. I haven't
Right.
spent a lot of time on it because every time I've clicked a link to watch something on Rumble, I get
You
served
end up
30
not
seconds
watching
worth
it.
of ads. And then literally like every 30 seconds to a minute, it serves you 2 more ads. It's like I'm not spending 30 seconds to watch a minute of content. That's not how it goes.
Right.
Anyway.
Agreed. See FBI guys. So again, SPACs trade a little bit different. It's a different type of animal. Not really my cup of tea here, so I'm gonna skip on that for now. ATXG. I mean, what is this doing? This is garbage, guys. I'm not gonna spend no time on this stuff. And last one here, AZN.
No.
Also, no. Garbage. Okay. Norm, on your end, what do you have today?
Garbage.
Bring out the garbage though. Do I have the garbage? There we go.
I'm still
Oh
looking.
man. All right, let's go to the chat and see what we got going on here. Dwight is giving us Apple, and yes, Apple will be on our list today. It was beautiful yesterday. Just following a good ticker to follow the overall
Apple's got an
market.
event today. It
They
usually
do,
trades
yes.
pretty well. Since you'd already mentioned it, I was sure somebody was going to. But yeah, they've got an event today. Big iPhone. I can't. What else are they releasing? They're releasing a pad, a watch.
I'm not sure, man. Not sure. I know they did the software last time. So now it's the actual physical
This is
product. So
hardware. Yeah.
yeah, it's hardware. So we'll see.
Okay.
We got
iPad, iPhone, watch. No iPad. iPad's a separate event, I think. So thank you,
yeah, they
Mal.
do their own thing. Yeah, they do their own thing, and I think they just came out with a few ones. But we'll see. You guys know what I'm looking forward to. USB-C on the Apple phone. So
Don't hold your breath,
let's
buddy.
let's hope. Let's hope, man. Let's hope. So there's Apple, guys. We'll see what happens there. Heading on over to our to our chat. Apple is good. What time is the event? By the way,
It's usually
anybody know?
what, like noon Pacific,
Okay.
10
Okay.
Pacific, 10 Pacific. There you go.
Cool. We'll be on the
Noon
lookout
my
for
time.
that. United Airlines, no, I don't think this is in play unless there's any news. There's no volume on it whatsoever. It's not gapping up or down. American Airlines, same thing. We'll look at CCO just for the heck of it. No, these are not in play today. 10 a.m. PDT. Okay, excellent. We'll see how that affects the app and how things go there. And no USB-C port. All right. So anything else, guys, you guys like this morning? Our usual suspect, Nvidia, of course, continues to end the day red here once
USB.
again. So Nvidia, what was that, Norm?
Mal said that Apple's going to announce a new USB-D port.
Man, don't. Oh my goodness.
We're going to get Carlos on a rant here in a second.
You guys got to get me going.
Bear.
I might be going live on YouTube while they're doing live just to get some reactions here. We'll see. AMD, guys. Yes, AMD. I didn't have it yesterday. How did it do? Did it just do overall market stuff? Yeah, overall market stuff. So AMD is a good one. We'll put AMD on here as well. What else we have going on? Nvidia is good. I like the daily on Nvidia, Brian, and I think eventually we might get something going here. It's kind of recovery to 142. I don't know, but I like the daily quite a bit with this gap down that we had here a few days ago. Anything else? Nvidia is good. GM, thoughts on GM? Big indecision doji yesterday. GM is see, I don't know. This indecision doji doesn't have a lot of weight for me because it's not happening at a pivot or a change in direction. Like if this candle was here, okay, maybe that'll have a little more weight to it, right? If we were in an uptrend and then you have this, okay. But you're moving sideways here and you're getting this, it's not really doing a whole lot, right? In my opinion, on a doji, I want to see at the top or the bottom of a trend. I think for me, the way I want to trade, that's going to have more volume, right? Here, doesn't do much for me. And also it's GM, so it definitely does not do a whole lot for me neither as far as that, right? I mean, just look at yesterday's action, me guys. This hurts my eyes to watch this. This hurts my eyes.
That's just,
I mean,
no.
Yeah, no. All right, PAF is a good opportunity. Yeah, I think PAF got some volume. It's got some good movement to it. Let's see how it does at the market open. So there's some stuff happening here. I think we can get some good moves out of it. It's down 18%, so I like that a lot as well. Next here, check on our YouTube chat as well. What do you guys have going on this morning? IMRA. More of a penny stock. Yeah, it's got volume. It's moving 40%. but not really what I focus on for me personally. So I won't add this to my list, even as entertainment purposes. It's just there's nothing I could really do with this the way I trade, right?
We don't
But
really
it is in
trade
play.
penny stocks here.
Yeah, it is in play. If you trade penny stocks, that's one you might want to have on your list. Just have a plan for it. Have a plan. Sava, no volume, not in play. Stefan there, so no good today. DWA. Did you mean DWAG? You meant DWAG probably.
I'm guessing, yeah, DWAG, not DWAG.
Not the DWAG. That's what you meant.
DWAG.
Yeah. Am I typing this wrong? What is it?
DWAC.
DWAC. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
If Trump starts a pet care company, it might be DWAG.
Yes. So this recovery yesterday. How did it trade yesterday? I didn't look at it. Let's see. Another one, guys. Yes, Rapsilla, 100%, man, 100%. DWAG, no, guys. I mean, it's just it does not trade well. It does not trade well. I mean,
It has its days.
it has its days,
Um,
but I'd
It had a
rather
pretty
watch
good day
something else.
yesterday, man. That's a hell of a gap lower to fill a
Yeah,
gap to
yeah,
then gap fill.
yeah.
But
It did push up higher. Um, I
but
don't know, man.
still,
I don't know. I don't.
it
I,
can be tough unless you really got something going on.
Yeah. It really can. So we'll see. Again, live volume. Don't go on the volume this morning. I mean, look at yesterday, like Norm said, right? They had a great open. They don't do anything pre-market, but they can get going after the bell. So you really have to wait to see how this thing is going to trade. Could be a hit or miss. All right, what else we got? Dash. I don't like the way Dash trades. Look at it yesterday; it's just horrible. But again, once in a while, these companies they do something. But no. Look at this. A block trade, guys. 1.8 is a block trade there. Nothing to see here. What do we have here? Never lose your iPhone, your iPods. Introducing iPad straps. We're having some fun today. This will be good for Andrew because Andrew has lost how many pair of AirPods? I mean, he has lost running quite a bit. I think he's up to like 8 or something. So yeah, so there you go. You got some options
yeah,
there.
he's lost more than that.
Yeah, right. So it's insane. Um,
It's like Goldilocks, or not Goldie, Hansel and Gretel. You follow him around an airport or whatever when he's traveling. I think they just fall out of his pockets like breadcrumbs.
yeah. COUP we did look at. Again, not a huge fan of the way that looks right now. Let's remind ourselves. Yeah. I like the gap up 9.7. It's got some volume here. Normally they don't trade a whole lot of volume on the daily. Very, very light. Yes, they did okay, 3.2. What's the news on this? Earnings? Yeah, earnings.
It's earnings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, to me, this is a possible.
Yeah,
On
I
a
was
day
gonna
like
say.
today when we don't have really anything too great,
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
consider it a possible. Another possible, somebody threw out Dustin threw out his ASO Academy Sports. They once again they have now the rule of mine on these two, they have to get volume.
Yeah.
Academy just released earnings, and that's what is popping it currently. But there's a big asterisk on that, and it has to get volume.
Right. Or else it's just not gonna
If
work.
it
I
doesn't
agree.
have volume when the market's open, then I ain't touching it.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys. I think we got a pretty decent list right now. We can always add a little bit later. Let's head over to our website. No, not Rumble. I want to go to BBT, and we will.
Not
We will.
Rumble.
Yeah, I was looking at it. It's just it looks messy a little bit. So let's go to Bear with Traders to see what's coming up for the next couple of days.
Yeah, anytime you want to see what we've got planned, go to webinar or go to bearbulltraders.com/webinars, or you can just click webinars up in the top nav bar. Onboarding and technology every Monday night, 8 p.m., except for last night. Guys, important, and we'll show you this. Carlos, can you click to the homepage real quick?
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube and you have not visited us, you can now actually now that was supposed to be tweaked, but nevertheless, you can that Monday go ahead and go to webinars. If you sign up in that email block up there, you can actually get a link to go to the onboarding session without signing up to be a member now. So that Monday session going to be open, free class live every Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, onboarding technology with Carlos. And then on Tuesdays, focus on strategy. This will be Thor next Tuesday talking about VPA, the where, and then the following week is Eamon managing an open position. And the time on Eamon should be 5 o'clock. I'll get that fixed. Then Dr. Kenneth Reed, 8 p.m. Tonight, is part 2 of Trading Trance, and Creta next week, 5 p.m. Eastern, Finding Your Mental Edge. Every Thursday is Mentorship John at 11, Ed at 4, Thor at 8. Don't forget about StockTradingSimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. You can go there 24-hour a day, 7 days a week to hone your trading skills for free. PreMarket 24, if you'd like to take part in the intro membership, go to BearbullTraders.com, go to the membership table. You can scroll down about halfway down the page. Click Join Now. You will get, and use the promo code PreMarket24. You'll get a discount, 7 calendar days in the room, 5 trading days. It is a one-time payment, does not auto-renew. And also, if you'd like to become an elite annual member, you can still use the promo code READ50, which will give you half off the elite annual and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get to this list here. Let's start with top of the list this morning, NEO, guys. NEO very active, down 5.7. So that's staying with us there. Path's got some opportunities. Got a very active pre-market action there. Normally, this one will be possible on most days, but today, we don't have a whole lot to watch. So we definitely can watch this one. Apple is good. It's just gonna do whatever the overall market is doing, but we'll see what happens around when things break out on their event happening today at around 10 Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific. Nvidia here is doing okay. AMD again just kind of doing the overall market stuff as we see this morning. There are a couple of possibles. Pins might actually be one that we move up. We just have to see how the market open is gonna treat this one. It is up 4.2. They got okay volume at 477. They're nicely stocked. They normally don't get great volume in the pre-market unless it's a specific strong catalyst. But we definitely want to take a look at that one. Coop, let's see Coop here. Coop dropping down this morning. Yes, a good possible as well. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have about 5. We can add one more. And ASO, both of these need to get good volume. Coop though picking up a little bit, 208,000 already, up 10%. This could be an interesting one for today. Carlos, I couldn't access the webinar last night on BBT. I was locked out. Weird, man. You should have been able to access with no problem. But do me a favor, Sean. Send me an email. Carlos at Bearable Traders, or anyone that couldn't get in. Carlos at Bearable Traders, and we'll get you a copy of that recording. It won't be the last night's recording. Because we didn't record that one, but we'll get you a copy of the recording so you can have it. So yeah, send me a note if you're not able to get in the chat, and then we'll make sure our IT guys can take hand of that. If there was many of you that couldn't get in, we'll redo the class tomorrow. We'll do the class at 7 a.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. tomorrow. If there's a lot of you that missed it. So if there's 10 or more, we'll do the class tomorrow. Send me an email, Carlos at BearableTraders.com. I'm gonna actually send that here, put that on YouTube for our friends. BearableTraders.com. Just send me an email with the subject webinars. Just put on onboarding webinar or intro webinar so I know exactly what it is. Okay, excellent, guys. Let's get some levels in here. I think we have a pretty decent list this morning. I'm sure it will build as we get going. Checking our gappers list to see if anything has popped up that's worth watching. And I don't see anything that we have not already looked at. XPEV is here. They're down slightly 2%. Man, XPEV just keeps getting crushed. Another new low this morning. Probably sympathy move with NEO. This could be an interesting one to have on deck. Let's put XPEV on here as well. See what happens there. All right, let's go to NEO, guys. So NEO low of the pre-market this morning all the way down to 1584 as they released earnings early today. Their call was at 8 a.m., I believe. So that's we have this one pop here, but didn't have a whole lot of movement after that. So didn't do a whole lot. I like this base that it has set up here around 1609. So you definitely want to mark this down because you see, although we broke down below that and we traded 1585 as the low of the pre-market, we have been flirting with this 1609 for quite some time here with more volume than we did this morning, and then here as well. So I definitely want to have that on there towards the top. High of the pre-market is pretty much, is it right on or above the previous day close? It is. It's all the way at 1745. So you got some significant levels below that, highs and lows level there as well, previous day close. And I'm also going to mark down this 1645 here. You have a little bit of resistance in the pre-market action there as well. Look at the bigger picture. If we were to lose 1585, that would not be an area we have not have visited recently back in May, so won't be a surprise there. But we do have 1438, good level on the daily here, obviously all the way 1161. I don't think we're going to get there. That's a stretch. And in between 1438 and the low of the pre-market 1585, we do have this one daily level here. Again, minor area, might not be a major one, but minor one, 1534, worth marking down as well in case we do drop here. Now towards the top, I think you have plenty. I don't think you need to add any more. Highs and lows for the last 2 trading days, previous day close, and the high of the pre-market up there at 1745. So I think you're pretty set there, guys. Nothing else that needs to be done there. Here's Path. Path has a nice drop this morning, down 17%. And we're going to put low of the pre-market over at 1192. High of the pre-market sitting, we just made that a few minutes ago, over at 1311. So great volume on this one here. It has died down just a little bit the last couple of minutes, but before, when we were looking at this, it was very active here. Let's see if that can continue. We do have amazing volume at 1.8 million shares traded. We're down quite a bit. I mean, the daily on this thing has lost some significant ground. I mean, we have not been this, what is this, all-time low? What are we looking at here? As far as that, let's go back even some more. Oh man, that is insane. This thing IPO'd, if this chart showing me everything correctly, IPO'd around $60, right over here. Yeah, around $60 or so. And then, well, at least open the day, right? Could have IPO lower in the pre-market, but usually the things don't open up in the pre-market. But 60 something, and then you can see the sell-off here down back to $12. Well, not back to $12. Nothing else below 1194, guys. That is the all-time low there that I can see, 1192. Towards the top, you have 1365 above your pre-market high, and then in here, there's not a whole lot of levels because this was your previous all-time low right on there. We broke that very easily this morning. So again, just not a good sign for these guys. Some levels I'm picking off of this area here because you do not have any other history on this thing, right? So if I'm picking off 1365, 1427, and 1470 is all you really have. So again, not a whole lot of data to go with on anything below this previous day close line. We haven't spent a lot of time here, obviously, on path. So very interesting situation here. I did not know this was all-time low. So this actually makes this stock even more interesting to be the one in play this morning. Looking forward to see how that is going to play out. Here's Apple. Just kind of surrounding the previous day close at the moment. You have your highs and lows in a couple of areas here as well from the last 2 trading days. Low of the pre-market at the moment, 154.14. The high of the pre-market sitting at 155.42. So 2 levels there. And then outside of that, the big picture, I mean, you had great support happening here. We're just kind of right on this support level that we have on the daily. If we were to lose that, we are looking at end of July, we have a level right around, this is a really good one here, 150.72. Might actually be 150, but you can see here, great level of resistance that later becomes support and can be support if we do decide to head down towards that area. Now, towards the top, I don't think you need to add anything. And if I'm going to be trading Apple today, I'm going to be looking at the SPY, of course, because again, they just are moving identical, really. So you could look at definitely want to keep an eye on the SPY if you're going to be trading any one of these usual suspects, Apple, Nvidia, and AMD. Now, remember, for Apple, guys, they got their event. So I'm not sure how that is going to affect them, but their event starts at 10 a.m. Pacific. That will be what, 1 o'clock our time. So just be on the lookout for that. All right, let's head over to Nvidia. Nvidia is just surrounded right now by some highs and lows of the last 2 trading days, and their high and low, it's, you know, we can mark those. We got 133. They got a very small range, 133 and 135.57. And also 133.90, 134 actually, to be exact. Those are your highs and lows on Nvidia. Outside of that, towards the top, I think you're pretty much set. Towards the bottom, we haven't been here. That's your 52-week low, and we have not been down here since May, June, looks like. Not even. We were just right on it. Again, that was support before as well. We didn't drop below that. This time we dropped to 133, which is right over here. So we have not been around this area since same year, 2021, but we're looking at May and April. So May and April, we're going to find some levels there. 130, man, that'll be a stretch, I think, unless we get some worse news. And 124 96. So 2 levels there on the daily. You got some good support areas happening on Nvidia as far as it dropping here any further, which will be something to see for sure. AMD, guys, AMD again pretty choppy right now. Not a whole lot of volume. I think I'm gonna put AMD to the side for now, guys. I think I'm gonna take AMD off for now. If you guys see something great, call it. I just think it's gonna move with the overall market, and I have Apple for that. I have Nvidia for that. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on those. If I'm not mistaken, Apple's historical sells a bit after events like this. 10 days later, it starts recover. Not saying take it for sure, but something that I recall from days gone by. Yeah, yes, it's good to know what how things react more often than not, right? So if you're tracking it, if you're tracking that, when this happens, this tends to happen. It's all about probabilities, guys, right? Trading is all about probabilities. So if you're keeping a good journal and you say, hey, when this engulfing, when Baba is gaps up, 5% and it engulfs or does an open range breakdown in the 5 minute, it tends to sell off X amount of percent, right? If you're able to track that and the percentage is good, well, guess what? If Baba sells gaps up and does an open range breakdown, I'm going to take it as short because most likely this works more often than not, right? It's all about probability. So if you can track that information and have it handy, I mean, use it to your advantage, right? You're not always going to be right, but you don't need to be right always, right? We know that for sure. Oh, what we got going on over here? VREU taking some stuff into action here. Up 12.1, 641,000. What's the news, guys? You have something going on here? Trade very often when it's active, and today is active. Yeah, no, it's very, very active. This is a nice pre-market action we're getting here. So we'll add VREU to the deck. We need more info on this. Let's see how it's going to look in a couple of minutes here in the pre-market. But definitely we can see some action right now. Again, just took off here, 0 to 60, right? Up 12.5, 654,000 shares traded. So this has popped up in the past before. It has done very well. I think I might have traded once or twice this thing here. I know many of you have for sure. So let's see what happens. Scottsdale, Mike, I mean, you can really go with either one. So the question is, why do I prefer Apple over AMD? I think just Apple was a lot cleaner yesterday. Very, very clean. They have more volume this morning. That's the only reason. But again, you can really go with either one. I didn't watch AMD yesterday. Did it trade well against the SPY? How did it do? It did. It traded very well against the SPY. I think Apple was cleaner. A lot cleaner, right? If you look at Apple here, compare, look how clean these candles are, man. That is music to my ears right there. You see that? That is beautiful. So if you look at AMD, it was not as clean. Nvidia also was not as clean, right? You had this aggressive pullback there, which is a good opportunity to get in for sure. So I mean, they're both good, man. I'm not gonna go be so picky on this thing. They're both good, but if I had a choice, Apple. Definitely much cleaner, man. I mean, look at this, right? That was just clean. Then you got the sideways action and then another drop here. So again, just pretty clean. So you can go either one, man. They're both really good. Going back to VRU, we'll keep this on deck. We just added this one. Let's see what happens here. We don't want to see this pull back down to 1460. We want to see this hold. And does anybody have any news on this? Let's look at Trading Terminal. The Q1 loss guidance down. Is that Rich? Is that for VREU? So bad news and we're popping. This company's tech is pretty good. Okay, PAF. Yeah, David. PAF is looking good today. It's looking very good today. Netflix with a small catalyst upgrade rating by McGuire. Let's see what Netflix. What's going on there? Not a whole lot of volume, 1% up this morning. Let's see if that means something. I'm not sure how much weight McGuire holds as far as upgrades and downgrades, but again, it's not a name that I know. It's not JP Morgan, it's not a Citigroup or something, Citibank. So we'll see what that does. But a possible, definitely not heavily in play right now by any means, right? We need a lot more to happen here. All right, guys, we are set. Moderators are coming in with their lists. I got Eamon, I got Susan, I got Thor. We'll take a look at what's happening there. Wait for a few more to hop up with their list. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it a whole lot as we try to build this channel and get to 100,000 subscribers, sitting at 67,000. So we got some ways to go, but we're pushing. We'll hope to get there. But your likes definitely help get us to that goal. As you know, the algos will say, "Hey, this content is somewhat all right," and share with other people, right? So appreciate your help there. Let's take a look here. So SIDU up 52% on SpaceX partnership. SIDU ticker sounds familiar. I don't know if we looked at it in the past. Maybe here did join our gappers list. 50%, 2.6. Man, this is in play, no question. In play. Risky, yes. Risky for sure. 6.8, so it's a low float. But again, any type of partnership like this for these guys will be really good. It seems overextended though right now, right? We're up 50% on this. Not saying that it can go any higher, but careful if you're going to be trading this pre-market. Has been up here in the past. Not a stranger to $4.50, $8. Has had a couple of pops in here. Yeah, let's see. Could be good for some scalping opportunities, but definitely not great. Steve, I'm glad you mentioned Oxy, because Oxy was great yesterday, man. It was really, really good. And today they should be on our list. They're getting moving here, almost down 2%. Volume actually 160 for Oxy. It's really good pre-market. We've seen their pre-market action so many times. It's really flat, goes sideways. So yeah, this is pretty good. Oxy will be on our list. Looking good this morning. Had a great sell-off yesterday as well. If you guys were watching this one, I had it on my list. Look how beautiful this sell-off was, right? Try to recover, did not quite do that. Heads right back to the low of the day there. So, man, we're losing it now, big time. I like that. So Oxy's good, guys. Definitely in play. All right, 186. Thank you, guys. We'd love to get to 250 if we can. That is our threshold, 250 likes. Thank you for the 186. I appreciate that a whole lot. Let's head over to, oh, there it is, Brian with his watch list. Let's head over to our moderators lineup. I'm going to bring this over and see what we got going on today. So let's take a look at this and see what our moderators like today. So let's resize this over here so I can bring you guys the visuals and we can get going with our morning here. So here's Eamon, potential shorts for this morning, AG and KLA. Susan's looking at Apple, Amazon, Tesla, trying the pivot bots alerts this morning. All right, very good. Secondary list SPY, Qs, and pins. Thor watching VRU, plug, SPY, and BA. Jared will be looking at energy stocks, Apple and Neo. Secondary list SIDU, again, just really popping up here this morning. And Tesla as well, which was great yesterday too. Tesla, Apple were really, really good ones yesterday, as well as Oxy. Let's see if we can get some more action out of those guys this morning. Brian, we're looking at VRU, Oxy, Path, and Coop. All of these guys are really looking nice this morning. So we'll see. Coop can really, Coop is a sleeper. I have it as my secondary. That's a sleeper for today, man. Up 9%, gapped up pretty good there. It's moving well in the pre-market, at least decent. That could be a nice one. And then he'll be looking at the scanners as well. Megan, Oxy, Disney, Google, and AMD on her list. So that is a moderate lineup, guys. We are all set to rock and roll as Brian takes on the mic in a second here. We'll wait for him and transition over to our final preparation for live trading, guys. So yeah, we're set. I like this list. I'll wait for Brian to hop on. As he does that, let me recap what I have here. I have Neo. Again, earnings last night. Oh, look at Neo popping up here. Pretty nice. Hitting that level on the pre-market there. So I think this will be in play today. They have not been in a while, but they'll be in play today. And they traded well yesterday. I traded Neo yesterday for a short. It was actually a nice pop here. I traded it for a short. Took some out here and got out the rest over here. And then I took a long, but didn't really get going. Here was a very, very low number of shares. Didn't really get going, so I got stopped out of break even when he came back down. But Neo was a good one. Neo was really, really nice yesterday. It wasn't great compared to like Apple and other stuff that just crushed it. Like Oxy crushed it. Apple crushed it, right? This thing sold off, but it compared to those, it was not that good. Okay, excellent. Team. Vic, are you saying team like us, we're a team, or are you saying team like the ticker? What are we doing here? I want to be team like us, like team, like we're a team, because this team here It's not looking like a team at all. This is looking pretty weak. Yeah, no, I think you mean like we're a team. I think that's what you mean, because this is looking, this is, oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. No volume, no nothing happening here. So I'm going to take that, Vic, like we are a team, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, we are set. Brian coming up shortly, and we will get rocking and rolling here. 225, 215 likes. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Self path put. Shoe, I don't know. This thing can, oh, there's Brian. Sorry, I have my volume down. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I'm gonna hand it off to you. And guys over on YouTube, thank you so much. Take care. Trade safe. We will see you guys. We will see you guys tonight. Tonight is we have psychology. So we'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. If not, tomorrow again here at 8 a.m. We're engineering the markets. Have a great day. We'll see you.